Hey there, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Basinger, and welcome to a special Valentine's Day episode of Compare Contrast, where we put in two similar games of similar caliber and compete them to see which one reigns supreme. And in today's special episode, why not celebrate Single Awareness Day than to celebrate it with everyone's favorite pastime? Pornography. Hentai games, every prepubescent teenager's wet dream. Nothing is more sweet and kind and at the same time lonely and sad as dating the girl of your dreams in the virtual world. Then afterwards banging her into God knows what your imagination can conjure up. Obviously, I'm not allowed to showcase any of what you see here due to YouTube guidelines, although if I were to interject somewhat, I find this type of video falls under the educational purposes. You guys want to know what a titty looks like? Sorry, you're gonna have to buy one of these two games to get the full experience. Alternatively, you could also pirate it, I guess, which is the version I'll be looking at for 3D Custom Girl, as no English localization is ever officially published and I couldn't find a Japanese import of the game. At the very least, Honey Select has an official English version from the official Faku website, so if you got at least $60 to spare, you can get a digital download. Now at first I was somewhat confused because I assumed I did buy the game, but as soon as I started to launch it, I got a black screen. Turns out I accidentally bought the DLC. A $60 DLC. That can easily be mistaken for a full game. So I bought the full game for another $60, and in total, that's $120 fucking dollars I spent on this. And before you ask, there are no refunds. Though it kind of makes sense why there are no refunds. The way you download this game is that you get a zip file rather than an installation, so that can be prone to easily hacking or pirating the game. So it makes sense for the consumer to not be able to refund the game since they could easily copy and paste it onto a different hard drive. But still, this is some bullshit I had to put up with just for this episode. I hope you guys weren't waiting for the Kingdom Hearts 3 vs Devil May Cry 5 episode I planned in the future, because I spend my money on animated pornography. Seriously, the shit I do for this series. What are we waiting for? Since ever I got that letter from Hentai Haven, this is my perfect opportunity to showcase what I've got. So, without further ado, this is 3D Custom Girl vs Honey Select. Okay, well, both of these games don't really have a story per se, but more of a social interaction with the girl you create. 3D Custom Girl has somewhat of a blank slate, being the stereotypical I can't wait to spend time with you type of mentality, and becomes awkwardly sad as soon as you leave the game. As for Honey Select, you can pretty much make her the same personality as our 3D Custom Girl, or alternatively, you can give her separate traits, different kinks, dislikes, and all that good stuff that ranges from energetic enthusiast or suicidal victim. Wow, that is depressing. The story is pretty much what you make of it. There's really no journey to get the girl and get a happy ending or anything. You automatically get her, and her happy ending. So what would be a good replacement for the story? Well, in previous Compare Contrast episodes, specifically for fighting games, I've compared the roster, but this game doesn't really have one. In fact, if anything, the roster is pretty much limitless, considering how you could customize any girl and every girl you want. So, since it's a customization, maybe? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first Compare Contrast sex position comparisons. What the fuck am I doing with the show? Okay, well, I'm only putting this category as a joke, as the number of sex position you can have is, well, standard. There's the missionary, the doggy style, blowjobs, cunnilingus, rim jobs. You guys can't see any of this, I just realized. Whatever, the point is, yeah, you can, in fact, have sex. These two games follow those steps very well. Alright, for real. Here's the actual category for this section. Well, since both of these games are mainly about customizing the girl of your dreams, it's something I can definitely showcase without YouTube flagging me. I'm going to go over the different types of customizations you can do, starting with 3D Custom Girl. The first type you can see is breast customization. Fuck, I can't show this either. Okay, well, it's not that big of a deal. It's mainly whether or not you want your girl to have big areolas or small areolas. On top of that, there's also skin tone and whether or not the girl has tan lines or not. Otherwise, the rest is pretty standard. Varies of different articles of clothing, from bras and panties to pants and skirts, lingerie, to other types of customizations including medieval armor or futuristic armor. Attachments such as angel or devil wings, sharp teeth, the usual works. You can pick different various of settings including school rooftops, swimming pools, a Japanese room, the snow. Why would you want to have sex in the middle of the snow is beyond me. But yeah, you can do that. The girls you can customize can be physically altered as well with different heights, breast size, breast physics, and weight. Once you finalize your female companion, you can save your girl and use her for later in the future, and saving her is pretty much as easy as a click of a tab if you want to ever come back to her. No pun intended. Though be careful, as it's also next to the randomizer button, which can remove all progress on what you originally did and have to start all over again. This is pretty much standard in terms of customizations. There's certainly enough to get an average hentai enthusiast giddy, so I'd say that they've got the bare essence of what it is to create your own 3D custom girl. Otherwise, I would have liked to have more options, and I'm sure there are with the use of mods and DLCs. It's just that the base package itself is pretty bare bones with the customization. Ironically, I would have also liked more articles of clothing options for the girls. I know that's a little bit absurd since the point of the hentai game is to take her clothes off, but for real, the best part about this game is the customization, and it left me a little disappointed that there is no more. You're pretty limited on what you can make. The different designs of the clothes you can implement are pretty basic. Just some regular schoolgirl outfits, shirts, and pants, and even the more extravagant fantasy-like options are also limited with just one option. I still think it's fine, I'm just a sucker for customization, that's all. Again, I'm sure I can easily fix this issue if I mod the game. With Honey Select, if you thought that I was a little bit disappointed with the 3D custom girls customization, well, no need to worry, as Honey Select gives you way more options and customizations. Although, most of it could be because I accidentally bought the DLC, which includes 170 different articles of clothing. Even so, one major disappointment I have with the clothing options is the fact that not every single cloth can change colors. Unless specifically stated otherwise, you can change the color of various clothing like jeans, skirts, panties, the usual works. Otherwise, on top of customizing what 3D Custom Girl already has with skin color, tan lines, and breast size, even at a multitude of absurdities, you can also customize your girl's face. This gives me so much more creativity in terms of what girls I can make. To be fair though, it could be because of the different aesthetics, 3D Custom Girl having a more anime style whereas Honey Select takes more of the Final Fantasy route. Still, I feel like I can create a lot of unique characters or even just straight up copy certain characters. Oh yeah, totally, this is not Kairi at all, ladies and gentlemen. This is my original OC Kira. Don't steal. There's even more options for different body types too, such as glute size, thighs, and you can even make your girls thick as ridic if you're into big beautiful women. But nothing got me more excited than the revolution and discoverment that is making your own male character. And it's as disappointing as ever. I'd argue this is the laziest implementation of customizations I've ever seen. Sure, 3D Custom Girl doesn't have a male customization option to begin with, but that's because all the male mods are just colored silhouettes. It didn't really need to have it, as it's for our imagination to put ourselves into the scene, similar to how the lack of voice acting applies to our imagination. A better example would be kind of like Phoenix Wright or Zelda games, where the voice acting is non-existent and you're supposed to imagine the voices yourself. But with Honey Select, you are the character. Either that, or you can pretend that's another character entirely. I would have expected them to have the same standard as the female customization, and they massively fail. You barely get any clothes, none of which are customizable aside from boxers, underwears, and thongs. And the body parts are not as extreme as well. Like, seriously, you can't even customize the size of your penis? How am I supposed to replicate my tiny 5.4-inch dick? I can at the very least kind of make him thick and ridic. Otherwise, this is just lackluster. So the winner for customization is Honey Select, but what can you do after that? You can have sex with a girl in 3D Custom Girl. That's it. Yeah, the gameplay is pretty much in the bare bones department. Once you finish your customization, all there is left to do is to do the bow chicka bow wow. Yeah, you can also in fact have sex in Honey Select, that's pretty much the purpose of the game, but unless you're playing in sandbox mode, which is impossible to play without either 100%ing the game or modding the game, you sort of have a purpose onto having sex with your multiple customization of girls. The personality trait you give to the girl of your choice will affect how she acts during gameplay. There are 5 different moods each girl can have, and most of these can alter as hard or as easy as you can make it to be, with the positive traits getting her more romantic or horny, and negative traits granting her disgust, servility, or even complete and utter darkness. While performing said sexual activities, each position and actions are color-coded, with yellow being romance, red being horniness, blue being hatred, and purple being slavery. The black one you'll most likely never have to worry about, as the actions is reserved for broken girls, which can easily be gained by completely ignoring her. There are various different scenes that can happen as well, such as going to the toilet, a shower scene, and rape. Yep, this is a thing, and it doesn't matter which gender you are. A guy can rape a girl, and the girl can rape the guy. Yeah, I'm just gonna avoid this topic in general. I did mention before the game has a 100% completion bonus, as, well, this game does have an achievement system. Doing various of accomplishments unlocks further customization, whether it's during sex or during the creation process, and if you're willing to put in the effort, it kind of feels therapeutic. They do tease you with the amount of content you can do, but block it out until you actually start playing the game and leveling up your characters. Once you unlock certain requirements, it gives you more of an incentive to continue. At this point, I wasn't even playing the game for the sex. I just wanted to max out my girls as much as possible and completely max out each and every emotional stat. There was one emotion I had the most trouble with. This girl in particular, I tried to make her as negative as possible and make her hate me as much as possible to max out the hatred stat. For some reason, in the middle of one of the scenes, she started liking me all of a sudden, and now she's affectionate. How the fuck did this happen? Although after leveling up the girls for a while, it kinda starts getting tiresome. It came to the point where I utilized the climax button I unlocked after being a sex god just by making your girls climax as much as possible, and I just constantly click the button to raise their stats faster. You technically don't even need to have her consistently have sex, you just click the button and then her stats increase. It was pretty fun when I got the challenge, but as soon as I get this ability, the game is pretty much a grind fest. Once I get to the end of the game, the only real enjoyment you will get is actually having sex with your partner, and not rushing it through. Eventually, I did get 100% completion, so call me Gerard the Completionist, I beat a hentai game. I think I pretty much made my point on the amount of explanations I had to do for Honey Select. This game easily gets another point for having more semblance of gameplay. A good comparison for both of these games is pretty much like buying a permanent hooker. However, anyone could be a hooker, and it takes a damn good talent to be a very good one, which is why we're going into the presentation section right now. How well do both of these games animate their sex scenes, and can 3D Custom Girl at the very least get 1 point by the end of this video? As mentioned before, 3D Custom Girl is more anime, while Honey Select is more realistic. If that's all you care about, then both pretty much serve their own purposes and serve their own purposes. Now, if you're a stickler like me and care about animation, then we may have a problem. Now, with 3D Custom Girl, I'm a little bit more lenient. The penis that the guy has is a literal twig, and furthermore, the vagina isn't even a vagina, it's just a bad suntan rash. But, to be fair, I think this was a developer technique as the copy I got was uncensored, but it was never meant to be uncensored. Due to Japanese law, showcasing genitalia in any form or fashion is illegal, and this game was never localized for American release, so it can be easily excused. Otherwise, the sex animations are perfectly fine, they sync up very well towards the speed of your actions, and the climax animations are as explosive as ever. Overall, I think the negatives can be excused, and the sex itself, while I do wish for more options, are perfectly fine for what they serve. On to Honey Select. Okay, let me get the positives out of the way. Graphically, the game looks fantastic. The character models for the girls specifically look beautiful with great looking skin textures, breast physics, and the game runs at a constant 60 frames per second, assuming your computer can run it. Unfortunately, this game also has a bad case of, you call this a vagina? This is literally just a texture. It's not an actual hole. If the male inserts his penis, it's literally clipping rather than expanding. Also, apparently anuses doesn't exist in this world despite anal sex being an option. The male models are only okay. I tried my best to see if I can make an attractive male, but the options are so limiting, it's very difficult to do so. Are you guys tired of me complaining about genitalia yet? Because shocker! This penis looks ugly. For all the realism they showcase for everything else, they could include more penile action. It's always stiff and hard, and even after climaxing, it never bends, it never contorts, and it always clips through everything. If you see the uncensored version, the penis is literally going inside this non-existent anus, and somehow outside the vagina. This is not how a penis works at all, and speaking of climaxing, this is probably one of the lazier implementations, as the cum textures doesn't look like sperm, it's just white ink. While they do look nice while covering the girls and climaxing inside her, it looks too glowy for it to be sperm, and there's not even any cum textures on the genitalia, for both the guys and the girls. But even with all the criticisms I've showcased, I would have most likely excused all this animation error if it weren't for the glitches. This is the most recent version I have, and some of the sex scenes are buggy. I think it depends on the size of the girls though. I believe most of the bigger girls are more glitched up than they need to be, but the minority of some of these sexual actions don't actually work. The character models just go completely haywire. Sometimes the models don't exist, while other models are being invisibly groped. And I think the weirdest case scenario is that some skin colors don't even match up. Like, if I'm allowed to uncensor this, here we have a black man with a white dick, and that shit just looks unhealthy. So yeah, 3D Custom Girl easily gets the points for animation and graphics. Hey, at least it's not complete analation. And that is my review for 2 of these pornography video games, and if you're underage somehow watching this, what the fuck is wrong with you? Look, I get it, kids. You like boobs. You should know what exactly you're getting into when you're clicking on this video. I mean, seriously, if your parents are really complaining about my behavior onto showcasing you what this is, you should blame them for not researching properly. But hey, what do I care? My sponsorship with Hentai Haven is going to make this video flourish. Well, shit, I guess it's back to the unemployment line for me.